One of the results of becoming profitable was that we had a huge tax bill. So about the same time that I started launching, an actual company instead of just having a job, we got profitable. And when I saw my tax bill for the first time, that exceeded what I actually earned as an income all year. I thought, this is insane. There's no way this is correct. And so I went down a journey of, okay, first, do I have the right accountant? And I switched accounts, and I think I had done that, even prior to 7 years ago. I looked at this, and I thought, man, my accountant is not saving me the money I need. What's going on? And then sure enough, I hired another accountant, and they saved me like an extra 15 grand by refiling my taxes, which, I don't know where our listeners are at, but for me, 15 grand is a lot of money still. And still at 15 grand, I'd bend over to pick that up. So,
Yeah, if it was just laying there on the ground, I
just land on the ground, I'd pick it up.
yeah. What's in that
Yeah.
briefcase that's there?
Yeah.
Oh, take a look.
Take a look. Yep. So, and I got that just by switching accounts. So I started thinking, well, this is nuts. If there's that much difference in tax professionals, what else am I missing here? And so I started having conversations with other tax professionals and asking questions and seeking advice. And then I went to a real estate get together. And this was also in 2017. And while there, I met a tax attorney who was specializing in rentals and real estate. Had a little bit of construction clients as well, but mostly real estate. But he gave some great advice, and he also gave us a bunch of different areas of the tax code we might focus on to save money. And one of those areas was known as the Augusta Rule. That's a nickname. It's a nickname for Section 280A, subsection G, for the nerds out there that want to look it up. And it has been in the tax code literally since 1976, unchanged. So we're going on almost 50 years unchanged from, liberal to conservative governments and in between. And this section of the tax code basically says you can rent your home for up to 14 days a year, 100% tax-free. Okay, well, what's the big deal? Well, the neat part about that is as a business owner, your business is a separate entity. And so what you can do is you can actually rent out your home without actually renting it out to somebody externally, like a third party. So what I do is I rent my residence, my personal house, to my construction company up to 14 times a year for actual business events, emphasis on actual business events. So for example, we'll have a quarterly meeting with the team, or we will have a client appreciation dinner, or we had a trade partner lunch where we, taught them how to hire, gave some economic updates, talked about things that pertain to each of their trades. And each one of these things is a legitimate business function that a business would otherwise rent a space for and conduct the meeting. And so by doing this at your home, you can take advantage of this portion of the tax code, and your business then pays you money for the use of your home without you having to move out or rent it to anybody outside of the family. The cool thing about this is you're having a deduction in the business of income, right? So let's say you can rent your home for even just $1,000 a day, which, by the way, is fairly conservative for people who have a decent home and a decent neighborhood. So you do that, you can do it 14 times a year. So you're reducing your income $14,000. So that comes out of the business, which means you're not taxed on it. But then when you receive it personally, you're also not taxed on it. It's one of the very few things in the IRS code that you can do a left-hand, right-hand deal, and it's allowed. And people think, nah, that's garbage or whatever. Oh, I've heard about this on TikTok and my CPA shot it down. Well, most CPAs, most tax professionals still don't know about this rule, amazingly. If they know about the rule, they're nervous because they're super, super conservative by nature and they haven't delved into the ins and outs of it. And if they have delved into it and they understand that it is legitimate, then you as the business owner are still left to execute everything, all the paperwork, all the hurdles, not screw it up, not create more liability for yourself, and, distract yourself from your business to execute it. And so nobody does it. And when I say nobody, I mean like a fraction of the business owners in our country are aware of the rule, aware of it properly, and are actually doing it and doing it properly. So
Properly is key here because, like anything in the tax code, if you're not documenting properly, like the burden of proof is always on the taxpayer.
Yes.
So there are very specific steps and sequences you need to do in order to utilize this properly. And you mentioned the word like legitimate several times. So you gave a perfect example of that within your own business. Trade partners. Okay, so you have plumbers and other individuals that you might hire as sub trades come out to your property. You put on an event. You put on a spread of some food. You do some training. Everyone's got a workbook. It's no different. You would have went to a hotel room to do that otherwise.
Yep, that's exactly right. I would have rented some sort of convention room or something like that, or a meeting space that was commercially available and would have paid for it. So you may as well use a resource you already own to then reduce your income in your business and receive income tax free.
Well, I think it's important for people to understand, how did this rule even come into being? It has to have come from somewhere. So maybe that is part of the answer and the solution in itself.
Yeah. So that's a good segue. So you're giving me a softball to talk about the background of the Augusta Rule. So the background of the Augusta Rule and like, why is it called this? Why does it exist? Why does it still exist? So back in 1976 and the year or two preceding, there were people around the Augusta golf course in Georgia where the Masters tournament is held. And that's the Augusta that a lot of people know about. And the rule was nicknamed after the Augusta course because the residents of the course successfully lobbied our Congress back in the day to not have to open up an actual business entity in order to rent their homes out for the tournament. Instead, they said, hey, can we please just do this and not have to open up like a separate business? We just rent our home out, for like a week or two a year on this tournament. And we would really like to do that and not have to do a bunch of paperwork. And I don't know this, Richard, but I suspect that a fair number of residents on the course were congressmen, legislators, judges, et cetera. And I also suspect that they still might be to some degree. So this rule has remained unchanged regardless of the policies of each administration that have gone through over the years. So what they did is they said, okay, we're going to put a carve out in the code that says you can just rent your home for 2 weeks. You don't even have to record paperwork. You don't have to have an entity. You don't have to pay taxes on it even. Go ahead. You're good to go. And so this is one that would come up from time to time. I'd ask guys, hey, you guys know about this Augusta Rule thing? Because for me, my house, I'm currently renting mine for $3,000 a day. It's a really nice house. I've got a large meeting space. I can have large groups here. And it's got construction elements on the house that I can show potential clients that I literally can't find anywhere else in town. So it's got a high value. And so that's a $42,000 deduction every single year on autopilot for me. So that turns into a real savings when I've already built a habit around having meetings and using my home. So getting back to what I was saying, you have to have all the paperwork. You have to have all the infrastructure. And so I'd mentioned this to other business owners, and one, they didn't even know about the rule. Two, of course, they have no idea about compliance, no idea about anything. And after I did this like 6, 8, 10 times, and I even talked to a guy who was a very successful wealth advisor, and he administrates the Augusta Rule for his clients, like teaches them about the rule, has them do it. And I'm talking to he and his wife at an event, and I'm just saying, hey, what do you guys do for your paperwork on this? What do you do for this and that? And they look at each other like, oh, yeah, we don't really have any paperwork. We just have them take the deduction. And that's what I thought. Are you kidding me? Like, if you get audited, not only are you, but all of your clients are going to get just smoked. Okay. And so I thought, well, I could help people with this. And I'm passionate about business owners and entrepreneurs keeping more money because I want the most productive people in our country to be even more productive and be rewarded for their work. And so this isn't just like, oh, let's turn a buck. It's like a mission to put money back in the pockets of business owners. And so at first I thought, well, I could build something and, I could get like, virtual assistants to kind of process this. And I thought, oh, it just sounds like a ton of work. Forget that. And then time went on and I'd have more conversations and realized the need was huge. And so I ran into a guy at Coach who had an app building company and started talking to him. And that led to another thing. And pretty soon we start building an actual app to automate most of the processes and all of the paperwork for the Augusta Rule. And you just have to enter your information one time, then it auto-populates all the forms. It auto-populates all the forms for every, every event besides the details of the exact event. It communicates with your tax professional, tells them how to file it properly so that you don't have risk. And we're even working on rolling out an audit guarantee where if in the terrible situation where you did by chance get an audit, you would be entirely covered up to $1 million for the audit defense,
Wow.
even using the Augusta Rule. So not only can you use the rule, we have different add-ons that if people want to, they can reduce their risk even further in case of an audit, and know that everything is being filed properly and benefit from it. So that is literally, the software was literally delivered last Wednesday, and we are about to roll it out. So the timing is perfect to talk about this to an audience.
Yeah, you've been, since I met you, I mean, probably about a year ago, we were talking about this and you were starting the process. The app was in testing phases.
Mhm.
It's gone through multiple iterations. You've been having people giving you great feedback, that whole beta process. So to be at a stage where you're able to launch this is absolutely fantastic. And what a gift to be able to provide the citizenry of your country by helping them understand how they can legally and legitimately create an opportunity for more capital to be in their hands so that they, as productive members of society, can stimulate the economic machine of the country. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic what you're doing. And what a tremendous innovation on something old that existed that you probably never would have delved into if you didn't create time freedom in your primary business to be able to seek other problems that you're naturally gifted to solve. So with that in mind, I want everyone to consider, what's a problem that you could be solving for the benefit of everyone else in the way that Nathaniel has done. And make sure to look up the Augusta Rule, learn more about it. We'll put a link in our show notes about that. And man, can't wait till our next episode. Nathaniel, thank you so much for dropping so much value, talking to us through your journey, the problems you've overcome, and where you're going, moving into a brighter and much bigger future. Thanks so much.